Hello. Okay, so we are live now. Let me just close this tab. Hello, guys. I'm Jay Dave, and welcome back to this Java Bootcamp Introduction to Java Programming Bootcamp. So, yesterday we saw the introduction part about what is programming languages and what is computer programming. So, it was the basics for this, and now we'll go move forward with it. So today what we are going to say is we are going to start the introduction part with our Java. We'll see what is Java, how does it work, how can we code with it, and everything and anything in Java. So let's begin. So let's first see what is Java. So as I told you yesterday, Java is a programming language. It's a PL, which is written which we code to tell our computer something. It's a high level language. So it was basically found by James Gosling, I guess. Yeah, he founded it. He's the father of Java back in late 90s. In He was working with Sun Microsystem then. So there the Java originated. If you guys know, Java is also a kind of a T. So there the name comes from the Java. So let's get started with our Java programming language. So why should we learn Java? So first of all, we have to see some characteristics of it. What are the characteristics of Java? So Java is very simple. It's purely object oriented. It's not like C++, which is extension to C, just object oriented part. But Java is purely object oriented. It's distributed. It's interpreted. As I told you yesterday, it uses both compiler and interpreter. So it's interpreted. It's robust, and Java is mainly useful for its robustness and security because of the OOPS concept it uses. It's very secure. It's architecture neutral. So the main good point about Java is it's portable and architecture neutral. How is that possible is, as I told you, it uses both compiler and interpreter. So what it does is it converts your codes in something called bytecode, which is kind of like an assembly language. So you can run your, if you have written your code in a Windows system, you can also run it on Mac system or Linux system. That's the best part about Java that I like. So it's also good in performance. It's multi-threaded and it's dynamic, and many more characteristics of Java are there, which are very nice. Let's move on. So let's see now Java, the architecture of Java. So as I told you, it uses both, right? It uses compiler as well as a interpreter, kind of like an interpreter in virtual machine. So what happens when you write your source code is, first you write your source code, then the Java compiler comes. Java compiler converts your code in something called, which is bytecode. Yeah, right. So it converts into the bytecode. Then Java virtual machine comes into the picture, and it converts then your code into the machine language. So why is this very important to understand? Is because if you write your source code into a Windows computer, and then it's converted into some bytecode. So now if you try to run this bytecode in the Mac system, it will also run there. Correct. So it's architecture neutral. It can run on any operating system once it's compiled. So it's also called write once and run many time. Run wherever you want to run it. So that's the main part about Java architecture. So let's get started with our Java. So this is a simple program which you can try. So what is happening over here is, first we are declaring a class. Don't worry if you don't understand what is a class and what is this access modifier which is public. Just try to understand the code which we are doing. So then we are creating our main method. So main method is something where you tell your program that your program starts from here. So whenever you write your code, whenever you have written your main method, the compiler will try to run your code from main method. It will first find your main method, right? And inside it we are printing something. So there is a method called println, and which prints welcome to Java. So now let me give you a live example with it. Let me open my IDE. If you guys got any questions, kindly drop it in the comment section. I'll try to read it once in a while during the program. Yeah, so let's see here. So this is a ID which is IntelliJ IDEA. I'll show you how you can download it. So go to your browser and type IntelliJ IDEA, and the first link which comes in this is in JetBrains. Just click on that. If you come here, there's one version which is ultimate version. It's the paid version. So scroll down a little bit, you'll get a community edition which is free to use. So download the free edition only as you are starting with it. It gives all the functionalities that you need. So just go here and download it. Yeah, let me check if you guys are getting any errors. Kindly drop into the comment section. Yeah. Okay, so I'll be moving forward with it. If you got any questions, kindly paste it in the comments. So yeah, let's move on forward with it. We'll see what are comments, what are reserved words, what are modifiers, what are statements, what are blocks, classes, methods, main method, exit method, and all of that. So what are comments? So if you write some comments in your program, the compiler will understand that this line of code is not for execution, it's for reference purposes only. Comments are mainly used for the programmer's reference. So let's say if you are working for some company, you have written some code, right? Now you are getting some more going to some another company, and you have written some code. So it becomes very difficult for the next programmer to understand what you are trying to say with your code. So if you write comments in it, to explain your logic, it becomes easy for the next programmer to understand it. That's the main purpose of comments. So there are three types of comments, or we can say two type of comment mainly, which is single line and multi-line. So for single line comments we use double slash, and for multi-line we use slash and asterisk sign. Let me show you how that works. So let's say I am printing something here. We are doing some addition over here, right? So what will I write is, this line will perform some addition. So as you can see, this line is gray. The compiler does not compiles it, it's for programmer's reference. So it has nothing to do with the program. Yeah, understand? This is the single line comment. So if you try to go on the next line, the comment gets over. But if you want to write multi-line comments, you have to use slash asterisk, and for to over the comment, you have to again write slash and asterisk. So here you can write anything like, this is my first comment. Yeah, so there are mainly two types of comment which I have shown you here. Let's go on forward. So there are reserved word, as I told you yesterday. All the programming language have some reserved words. So let me show you what are reserved words. So if you see here, this public, this package, all the words that are coming in orange word, these are the reserved keywords. So this package is a package name. It's as the name suggests. This public is access modifiers. We'll see later in this course. Just for now, understand it's reserved keywords. You can't use reserved keywords for your own purpose. So if you want to create some variable and name it as a public, you can't, because it's already reserved by the language. Then comes the class. Then this the static, there's void. These all are the reserved keywords. There are many more like data types, integer, then you got float, and many more. These all are the reserved keywords. So let me tell you the definition, or sort of reserved keywords, or keywords are words that have a specific meaning already. The meaning of it is already defined by the programming language. So yeah, these are the examples which I just uh, which you just saw: public, static, void, and many more. Then there are modifiers, as we seen over here. This public is access modifiers. We'll cover this while we are when we study object oriented. For now, just assume that this is, just understand this is access modifier. So there are mainly three type of access modifiers: public, protected, and private. Then there comes statements. There is statement which we wrote in our current program is system.out.println. What will it do is it will print something on your console. And observe here, as we write full stop in our English language, whenever we complete our sentence, we put a full stop, right? So in programming language, semicolon works as a full stop. So whenever we put semicolon, the program understands this line is getting over here, correct? So semicolons are very important, because if I remove this, I'll get an error. You see here, insert a semicolon. So semicolons are very important. So let's move on forward. Then there come blocks. A pair of braces in program form a block of that groups components of a program. So what are blocks? Blocks are this. Do you see this two curly braces? The code which we write in this two braces, pair of braces, is our block. So this is called as a one block. If I try to write this, this is our another block. This is our another block. So these are blocks. Let's move on forward. So what are classes? We'll see what are classes and how to use it in OOPS. For now, just let's understand what's it used for. So it's very essential in Java, because it uses object oriented program. So everything in Java is considered as objects or seen as objects. So we have to use the functionality of classes. So let me give you an example, just the basic of OOPS. So let's assume you are studying in a classroom, right? So your class is a class in Java, right? And the students, or the bench, or the desk, these are the object of that class. Are you getting my point? Let me give you another example. Let's assume a car, right? So a car is a class. Car is a common class. Let it be any company. Let it be Mustang. Let it be any company or any model. Let it be Ford. Let it be Mercedes. Anything. But a car is a class, a common class, right? And what are the objects of it? The objects can be seats, steering wheel, the wheels of the car, the trunk of the car. These can be the objects of the class. And what can be the functions of that class? Functions can be turn on the ignition, or drive your car, accelerate, brake, clutch. These can be your functions in the car. So a class consists of objects and data methods. Methods are something that I told you currently. Methods are something that if you want to ride a car, accelerate could be a function of it. So get the basic idea over here. Don't worry if you don't get the whole idea. We'll see when the OOPS comes up. So what are methods? So let me show you. So if you see over here, ignore this system.out, ignore this, we'll see that later. But this println, this is a method. It is already declared and we are using it. So see here. If you, where was our program? Yeah, if you control click on the println, you can get this page. Where is the source code? So this method is already defined. We are just using it. See over here. This method is already declared. It's taking a integer parameter. Yeah, demo. Yeah. So if you control click on something, see, you can go to that. So these are our methods. Methods are something, let's say, what can be a method? So let me give you the yesterday's example only. If you want to make a cup of tea, uh, if you then you're pouring your water into the bowl. The pouring of water can be a method. Or if let's say if you are driving the car, pushing the accelerator could be a method. So method are nothing but some sort of work which we are trying to get to do by telling our computer. Let's move on forward. So let's go to the main method, which was our part. Main method, this one. This is our main method. So whenever you write a program, your program will first find the main method and start your execution from there. So the main method is very important. You can't ignore it. The main method provides the control of the program flow. So the program flow starts from there only. The Java interpreter executes the application by invoking the main method first. The main method looks like this. We saw that like this. So let's move on forward with the data types. Let's see if you are getting. So are you guys clear till here? Let me just see. Yeah, so no errors. We'll move forward. So yeah, let's move on with our primitive data types and operations. So what are data types? So let me give you basic example first. So let's say, let me put this on comment. Yeah. So let's say you want something that you want to store some number in your computer and then later you want to use it, right? So as I told you yesterday, your computer is a very dumb machine. You have to tell it what kind of data you want to store also. So let's say if you want to store the number 10. So what you have to do is you have to tell your computer what type of data it is and then you can store it. So where can we store our data? So we can store our data in something called variables. So variables are nothing but named memory locations where you can store your data in it. So if I want to store 10, what will I do is I'll declare the data type, which is integer, because 10 is an integer, right? Then I'll declare the variable name. Let's say it's my variable. Yeah, and I'll store 10. So what is happening over here is I'm creating a variable which is named by myWhere and I'm storing 10 in it, right? Let's see. Let's print it and see what happens. See, we are storing some value in a variable and then we are printing it. So what is this integer? It's a data type. There are many data types which is predefined, like there is float. If you want to store, something which has decimal points, you can use float like this. What's happening? Yeah. If you want to store some double, if you want to store some string, Strings are nothing but characters. So these are all the data types that you can use while working with Java. We'll see each and every one of them. Let's move forward. So the primitive data types are byte, short, integer, long, float, double, char, and boolean. String is non-primitive data type. We'll see while we move forward. Then comes expressions, operators, and much more. We'll see all of them. So let's see now what's identifiers. So an identifier is a sequence of characters that consist of letters, digits, underscores, and dollar sign. So identifiers is nothing but what I told you here, a variable. These are called as identifiers. So my where is an identifier over here. There are some rules to it also. You can't put anything in a identifier name. These are some, what you can say, some hard to understand words, but if you try to get the basics of it, it's very easy. Let's say they are using identifiers in the coding language, but it's a variable only, right? So don't get confused in it. So let's move on forward. An identifier can be a reserved word, cannot be a reserved word. As I told you, reserved word can't be used for our own purpose. It has already specified some purpose to it. So yeah, there's some examples of identifiers over here. That's how we declare variables. These are our data types, and see, these are the memory which will data type will occupy. So if you try to write a byte uh, data type and you try to store something in it, it can only store up to 8 bits. If you try to store something in short, it will store up to 16 bits only. If it's integer, it's 32, it's long, it's 64, it's float, it's 32, if it's double, it's 64. So it's language dependent. So this is not common for every language. It depends on the machine and the language that you are using, but it's mostly common. Most of the programming languages follow this only. Yeah. So we saw over here what we are doing. We are storing 10 in a variable, right? So what we are doing, we are assigning some value to our identifier or the variable. So how we are doing it, we are using equal to sign, right? So it's an assignment operator. We are assigning some value to our variable or our identifier. It's nothing more than that. Then we are doing this, what it's called is, we are declaring some variable, so it's declarative statement. Let's see now what's constants. So let's say if you have made a variable, right? So what does the variable name suggest you? What does come in your mind when you hear variable? Something that you can change easily, right? So if I try to write my var is equal to 20, it will allow me to change the value of my var. Although we have already assigned some value to it, it allows us to change the value. Now we are assigning it to 20. So see, we can print 20. But it's not the case. So let's say if you want to save something which you can't change, it's constant. Let's say if you want to store a value of pi and you are using it again and again, so you'll store it in a constant. So you can use it again and again without modifying it. So for that purpose, we can use final statement. We can use it like final double pi. That will create a constant. Let's move on to the operators now. So what are operators? So we try to perform something in our programming language, right? So operators are nothing but addition, subtraction, multiplication. This asterisk is multiplication, this slash is divide, and this modulo is modulus. So let's see each and every one of them. Let me show you some constants also. See, this is how you can create a constant. So let's see now. Let's see operators. So first we'll see addition operator. We have already seen it. What does plus do? it does the addition. Then what does minus do? Minus does the subtraction. Then what does asterisk do? Asterisk is multiplication. Then what does slash do? It's divide. And what does modulus do? Modulus gives us the remainder. Modulus, right? See, getting it? See, now if I try to do it with 3, it will give me 1. It's basic only, correct? Let's comment all this. Let it be. So let's move on forward. These are some examples of it. So what are literals? So literals are nothing but the value which we are trying to store. So in the first example, we tried to store 10 in some variable. Then we can store some floating decimal point values, and we can store my name in some variable. We can store strings. So these are nothing but literals. So what are number literals tell you? It's numbers only, right? Integer literals are integer. Floating point value which are decimal. Scientific notation. So if you want to store scientific notation, you can. So what does this 1.23456 e plus 2 means? You got to know it. It's very common. So it's nothing but equivalent to e2, right? So what it does is it moves your decimal points. So if you write e2, it will do 123.45, and if you do minus 2, it will do 0.0123. See here, correct? And also variables in Java are case sensitive. So let's say if you have declared a my variable over here, and if you try to print, let's comment all this. If you try to print this will give me an error because the program does not know what is this. The V is capital, it's case sensitive. So you have to write as it is. Small and capitals are different in this. Okay. So let's see shorthand assignment operators now, or shortcut operators is also called shorthand operators. So what it does is, let's say we are declaring some two variables. We are declaring one more variable, which is 20, right? And then what we are doing, we are, let's say, storing an answer. So this will store the addition of these two variables. So what we have to do here is we have to declare a variable, then we are doing the addition. Instead of this, I can directly do this shorthand operator. No, say, let's declare it to 0, and if you are doing this plus my var2. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are we are doing the addition of answer and my variable 2, right? So instead of this, what we can do is use shorthand operator and store it like this. Getting my point? So what is happening over here is it's also doing the addition of answer and my var2, and then storing into the answer only. So it's faster to use. This will do the subtraction. This will do the multiplication. This will do the division. These are shorthand operators. And that you can also use with modulus. So let's see increment and decrement operators. So there are mainly 4. First, there is postfix and suffix. Let's delete this. Yeah, so let's see, you have the value of my var equal to 10 over here, right? So if I do this, what will it do is it will uh, add 1 to the variable. So it's 10 right now, correct? So it will do 10 plus 1, so it will give us 11. Let's see, it's giving me 11, right? It's this one is the postfix. You can also do this. This will also do the same. We'll see what's the difference in it while we do more complex coding. But for now, it's you can assume it's same only. You can use this. You can also use this. It will subtract it by 1. See, we have done 2 times. That's why it's giving me 9. First, it will add 1. So it will become 11. Then we are minusing it by 1. And then again by 1. So it's giving us the 9. Correct? Yeah. So let's move forward. Yeah. So then comes the comparison operators. So you can do comparisons of two variables or values. For that purpose, comparison operators are used. There are 6 comparison operators, which is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to or not equal to. We mainly use these comparison operators while we are doing uh, what you can say decision making. In decision making, you mostly use comparison operators. It allows you to make some decisions, and on the basis of that decision you can move forward with your program. Then come the boolean operators, which is not, and, or exclusive or. We'll see that later on. So let's see truth table of not operator. So if something's value is true, it will give us false, and if it's false, it will give us true. Let's say, so boolean is a data type only. What it store is, it stores only true or false value. Yeah, so it will store true value in it. So if I try to print, let's say we're trying to print this, what will it give us? True only. Yeah, so giving us true. So if I write this not, so this is basically this is true, right? So and we are using not, so it will give us false. See, so it gives the complementary of it. So if it's something's true, it will give us false. If something is false, it will give us true. Then there comes the truth table of and operand. So let's say if both the values are true, then and then only the output will come true, and in everything else it will come false. So if both the values are false, it will give us false. If first one is false, second one is true, it will give us false. If it's true and false, it will give us false only. Correct? Let's move on forward. And it's basically opposite in or. If one of the condition is true, it will give us true. And if it both are false, then and then only it will give us false. Yeah. So then there comes the operator precedence. There may come times in which you have to write some long operations in one line only. So there is some precedence which is decided in computer language, which we'll see. So first one comes this, the increment operators. Then there is unary plus and minus. Then typecasting. Then logical not. Then multiplication, division, modulus, binary addition, subtraction, comparison, equality, unconditional and, exclusive or, unconditional or, conditional and, conditional or, and then there comes the assignment operators. So you can put it in this, and then you can evaluate what will be the answer of this uh, equation. We have seen this only. So what are appropriate comments? So in a summary at the beginning of the program, to explain what the program does, its key features, its supporting data structures, and any unique techniques that it uses. Let's see how the professional programmers put comments in their code. See, they have put some comment over here. They have given the overall overview of this code. They are giving this they are using comments often. See, so the life becomes easier of the programmer to understand what's written over here, because mainly when we it's useful for you also. If let's say you have written some code and you are seeing that code after quite a while, so you will forget what did you learn then. So you can write your comments, and then if you try and open it after some time, you'll get the point that what you were trying to say at that time. So it's very useful. So mostly it includes a summary at the top of the program. Then you can include your name, class section, instruction date, and brief description in it. So we saw identifiers, right? We saw how you can make a variable and store values in it. So there are some rules to declare that identifiers also. It's not like that you can use anything and you can create a variable. Let's say you are trying to make a variable which is something like this. So you can't do this. There is some rules which you have to follow. So what are that is use lowercase if the name consists of several words, concatenate all in one, and use lowercase first word and then capitalize the first letter of each subsequent word in the name. For example, radius area or computer area, like we did over in the previous variable name. So if we are trying to use two words, we can use something like this: 1 second this, or you can do this. Yeah, there are rules that you can't do, that you can't start your variable name with a number. You can't use anything else than $sign. You can only use this special character in declaring your variable or identifiers. You can't use anything else like this, or let's say like this. You can't do this. So there are some naming conventions for it. So that are naming rules. Naming conventions are what you can say. It's not hard coded, but you should use it. It's a convention that all the programmers follow, so the code looks more clean and neat. So for variables, the naming convention is different, and for classes and packages, naming conventions are different. So constants should be always stored in capital. It allows us to store in small letters also. So let's say if you try to store value of pi, it will allow us to store like this. Yeah, but the thing is, the naming convention which all follows is write it in capital, because all of the coders use this. So it's always good to follow. So what is indentation? Indent is a two space. So basically you can say indentation is space in general language. Then comes programming errors. So what are programming errors? As we seen yesterday, there are syntax errors, runtime errors, and logical errors. So let's say each and every one of them right now. So what are syntax errors? Let's say you are trying to write something like this: integer my variable 10. So you can't use this. Is syntactically incorrect because the I is small in this data type. Let's try to run it while it's wrong, right? It's cannot find the symbol. It's giving us an error. If you try to write something like this, 10 is equal to my variable integer, although everything is correct, 10 is correct, equal to is correct, variable name is correct, data type is correct, it's giving us an error because syntax is not right. We have to follow the syntax of it. See. Then there comes runtime errors. If you're trying to input something, let's say you are trying to input something from the keyboard. So for that you have to use scanner class. Let's create a variable first. So what will it do is it will take a input of integer type. If I try to print, see, it's giving us a runtime error. Although our code was running first, we are trying to take input of integer and then the user is providing some string in it. So it's giving us the runtime error. This is called as runtime error. So let me give you the brief of what I did over here. So there's a, if you want to take some input, there's a predefined class which is scanner class. So what you have to do is write the class name, then declare the object of it, which is in this case sc. Then you are assigning the space to it, the memory allocation to it, and then you are writing system.in. So what is this system.in? It's nothing but you are telling your computer that take your input from the keyboard only, right? And then what we are using, we are writing our variable name is equal to, then we are using this object which we created for taking input, and this is the method which was declared previously. It's already declared, it's already written, we are just using it. So you have to use, if you want to take input of integer type, you can use next integer. Use the value here. Then let's print the value of it. See, we inputted the value of 10 and it's printing the value of it. This is how you can take some input in it. Then there comes logical errors. So let me give you an example of logical error as well, which will perform everything as you are hoping it would be. Let's say I have another variable name which is stored as 0 in it, and we have also declared a variable. Correct. So we are taking input in our variable, and there is a one more variable which has v, capital V, right? So let's see now. We are trying, what we are trying to do is we have taken the user input, right? And we are printing it. Let's say we try to input this. See, although I have inputted 1000 over here, it's printing 0. Why? Because we, by mistakenly, we have written this variable name. So this is called as logical error. Although everything is working fine, it's not giving you the output you wanted it to be. These are called as logical errors. Yeah, so that's the basics of this. Let's see if you guys are getting some errors. Okay, so tell me how far you are liking this course. Hello, hello. Yeah, tell me, how far you are liking this course and what are the issues you are facing? Okay, so I guess you guys are not getting any issues with the installation and this coding part. So this was the introduction to our Java programming. These are the some basics of this language. So let me give you some examples how more complex code looks like. Uh, let's see. Okay, let's move on forward with this topic only. Give you what are the control statements or the decision making statements. So yesterday I give you the example of if statements, right? If something happens, do this, and if this happens, do this. So if you want to do this, you can use if statements. So what is if is the variable is equal to 10, right? So we can write if, then you have to write parentheses. Then what you can do, if variable is greater than, yeah, is greater than 10, then print variable is greater than 10. Else, if this does not, if this is not the case, then what should it do? It's not greater. We'll just print it. So currently it's not greater than 10, so it will print not greater. You can use if else also, else if also. So let's say you want to put one more condition, that if it's equal to 10, will print it's equal to 10. And else, what should it print? Not greater. So what should it print? It's equal to 10, so it will print it's equal to 10. Yeah. So when you write if, else if and else part is not necessary, you can remove it. You can use only if you want to. But if condition is not satisfied, it will not go to it will not print anything. You can use this. You can use this also. If you are putting only one line of statement in your if block, you can use it like this without the parentheses, sorry, braces. It will not give you error. You can put it like this. See, it's working. But it's always good practice to write your parentheses, sorry, braces. Correct? So what else we can do? You can also use break and continue in loops and all this. So these are the basics in the coding, the introduction to Java. What we'll do in next video is we'll move forward with uh, our more advanced topics. But for now, you guys practice this. I'll give you some websites where you can learn it. Java T Point is a good website to learn Java. You can go on Java T Point and read everything that I have taught you right now. You can go on the Java and just read the articles which are over there. You'll get a brief of what we have learned today. Yeah. So in the next part, before we from the next video when it's coming, try to install this IntelliJ Community Edition, and also install your Java. How you can check if Java is already installed? You can go to your command prompt and you can check if it's already installed. So in my case, Java is already installed, so it will show you this. The version of Java I'm using 19.0.2. Everything after 17 or 15 is good, I guess. You can use anything. Don't use the versions before 15. It's very old. So use this only. Download the latest version. So in the next video, we'll see more advanced topics. Just try to read all this which I have taught you today. So before ending this session, let's see if something you want to share. Okay, so do everything that I have taught you today. Explore it on your own, something more. We'll go on forward with this course in the next video. So take care and good night. I'll see you in the next video.